Had this chair pushed aside for several years now, and people have been asking, if and when I'm going to get back to it. Figured through the holidays here would be a good time to work on it. I'm going to start by adding a few ties to the crown in this seat. It's just a little bit taller than I'd like it. I'll center the burlap and square it up here on the frame. I'll square this weave up on around the front. Stitch this burlap in place over the springs. I most generally tie in 4 different places. I'll start padding the seat at about 3 inches deep. Work with the straw on this outside edge. As I build it up, I'm going to allow for about a 1-inch rise on the upper part of the crown. I'll work with the straw and get it evened up and somewhat firmly packed under this wire. Keep it shaped with the frame. I'll add some bridle ties around this front to help keep the straw in place. I'll work with the straw and build it up to shape and make it just about 3 inches deep around the front. I'll level out the crown of the seat by adding another inch of straw. I'll pick this fiber a little bit and mix these two together and level that out a little bit better. I'll put down a thin layer of horsehair. I'll drape over a layer of burlap, start tucking it into the crevice, squaring up the weave with the chair. I'm going to establish a couple straight lines in the material from one arm to the other and shoot in a temporary staple. I'll keep this weave squared up as I tuck it into the back crevice and along the sides. Squared up along this drawn place here. Put in a temporary shot in the middle and the front here. I'll continue keeping this weave straight, make divisions along the way, and put more temporary shots in. Keeping the weave squared up, I reach back and find the upright in the frame, square the burlap up, and I'll make my cut, stopping an inch short. And tuck the material back through the crevice. I'll snug the burlap back in, again keeping that weave squared up. Locate that post back there. I'm going to aim straight in for it. I'm going to stop short here and make a Y, and again I'm going to stop considerably short. Tuck that through. I'll lay out this template about 4 inches each direction here. Chalk this circle in for reference. I'll leave some reference marks from the spring placement. This first row of stitching is done with a double-pointed bayonet needle. I'm going to go completely through the bottom of the chair, stopping when I get to that first layer of burlap. I'll bring the needle back and anchor in. You have to avoid hitting the springs down below. For now, I'm just pulling the slack out of the string and making the stitches. I'll go back around and snug everything up when all the initial stitches are in place. Okay, I'll go back and work my way around and snug these up again. Once I get this ring all pulled down tight and even, I'll tie it off here at the end. I'll pack some straw into the shallow areas there. Work with the fabric and Get it evened up. I'm pushing the straw and horsehair up and reaching a 3-inch crown. Then I'll fill this softened and voided area up, work with it, get it all packed in pretty snug. I'll take up a small pleat right here. Keep working with that weave and keeping it all straight line. I'll mark out a 1-inch reference line for my stitching. I'll lay out another reference line at 1.5 inches. I'll use the regulator to pull the straw up. I'm pulling it up and outwards to the front. I'll go back and work with these stitches here and squeeze the straw into shape and firm it up with the stitch. I'll scribe in a line at about 1.25 inches. With the string knotted in, I'll use a 5-inch curved needle and drop it back towards the reference mark. Go backwards 1 inch. 5-inch curve seems to work best for making a roll like this. Take that return twine and work with that. Cinch it back up. The straw can be squeezed into shape like clay and then held in place with the knot. I'll level out this surface with a thin layer of tow, feathered away off here at the crown. I'll work with the hair against the palm of my hand. Use the regulator and pick it up evenly. I'll drop over some heavy muslin, start working it into the crevices. The upright support in there is about an inch off center, so I'll start by cutting back through here, stopping considerably short. Work that back into place. We'll hold the hair back in place, keep it on top of that front edge. I'm just going to snug this down with a couple temporary shots. I'll square up the weave on the frame here, pull that fabric back and work it down into the crevice. I'll make a diagonal cut down towards the base of the arm, stopping short. I'll make a diagonal cut and again I'll stop short. I'll continue pushing on the muslin and snugging all the horsehair in place. Gradually work with all the cuts until everything's evenly pulled in place. I'll press it in place from the top and staple it along this back rail. Well, that's a wrap on building this chair seat.